The Ladies of Mandrigyn is a 1984 novel by Barbara Hambly and is book one of three in the Wolf and Starhawk series of novels. Wolf receives a letter about business, as usual. He runs a company of mercenaries, and his second in command is Starhawk. She has worked with Wolf for a long time, and their relationship is a bit interesting, but it's normally just professional. He's the boss, she's the second in command type of thing, though it does evolve from there. The premise is thus: they have just broken the siege of Melpith, but Shira Galernis asks aid for Mandrigyn, conquered the year before by the wizard king Altiochus. Sunwolf stays away from wizards. He treats he treats wizards like, sorcery is treated in Sword and Sorcery, which is evil and stay away, don't want to interfere with that, bad, unless you're going out of your way to kill it, I guess, which, maybe he has to in this case, even though he doesn't want to. So he's a barbarian, this Sunwolf is. He venerates his ancestors, who he knows did exist, right? He doesn't know about gods existing, though he's had plenty encounters with fanatics. Of course, he'll turn down Shira, but he'll have less choice in the matter than he supposes, as the ladies from Mandrigyn kidnap and poison him, making him aid their cause, which of course means training them well, there are no men to train them, pretty much. They're all trapped in the mines by this Altiochus. Starhawk's part is largely trying to rescue Sunwolf. It's a nice reversal, I feel like, on the classic story, damsel in distress type of thing. Also, the poisoned person kind of reminds me of Fortress of the White Pearl by Michael Moorcock. And we get a quick grasp of the characters. Sunwolf is hard, but efficient and cunning, and so is Starhawk, really. We also learn some of the layers right there, like Starhawk spent her childhood with nuns. And then considering this latter, I really appreciate the women as soldiers that Hambly really does a good job here with. Starhawk isn't the only one among the mercenary company that's a woman, but she is obviously one of the key figures in the story. And the ladies of Mandrigyn are bold and determined as well to, save their city and also save their husbands and the rest of the men and whatnot. It does feel appropriately feminist, I guess. It doesn't feel like cringe or like odd. It's just a good book for several kinds too, right? The women aren't a single thing, right? Rather, women are a lot of things in this. Some are tough soldiers, others are pious, and some are prostitutes, and others are imperious and noble, right? So I mean, they're not all the same character. They're not a bunch of Amazons or a bunch of whatever. You could put one label on them, and because they're not that. Maybe a little on the nose at times, I think, but it works. It's also good. For looking at the greed of mankind. Interestingly, the only character that's a man, really, for most of the story, is Sunwolf. So that's an interesting change of pace compared to most fantasy novels. It also looks at, we get lots of world building thrown at us. Religions, wars, nations, peoples. Apparently, wizards are quite rare, almost completely non-existent at this point, actually, because Altiochus has kind of gone out of his way to kill all the other competition. And they have a bad reputation, of course. This topic also gets more into the theme of humanity and inhumanity. It feels much like Sword and Sorcery in a way, though more in the Gemmel or maybe Glenn Cook vein. It's more heroic fantasy, I guess you could argue. It's dark, it's definitely adult. There's some rather terrifying creatures and some bad experiences and, things you get to learn from in this one. Apparently, Hambly is also a medieval scholar, which I think adds to her nice detail for characters and the world building, right? And the story itself kept my attention. It made me excited to read the next book, which I already have, actually, as recording this. And this does work as a standalone, though, so you don't have to worry about reading the next two books. The world itself is similar to Renaissance Italy, but one different, of course, as Hambly has put thought into a world with magic, right? Which many fantasy worlds fail to do, at least accurately, in a way. Hambly, as a whole, I feel like, is very impressive with her words. She's really easy to read, but with just enough finesse to make me nod in appreciation, actually, quite often. So I very much enjoyed this one. I see much more Hambly in my future, hopefully. So anyways, Liam from Liam's Lyceum, I'll catch you next time.